Hi, welcome. Simon here, and I hope you're doing well. In this video, I'll be doing a teardown on a Lenovo Legion 5 laptop. In this process, I'll walk you through step by step on how to take things apart, like the motherboard, the battery, the CPU fan, things like that, as well as explaining to you on how to upgrade your RAM, your hard drive, maybe to clean out the thermal paste, and walk you through the entire step on how to do that. So if you find this video is helpful, please go ahead and give me a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. I really appreciate you for doing that, and that keeps me motivated to make more of these sort of videos for you. Alright, so let me turn it around and show you the model number here. If you take a closer look, it says Lenovo Legion 5. Model is 15Imh05h. Alright, so that is the model here. The manufacturer date is year of 2020, November 03. Alright, let's go ahead and get yourself a Phillips screwdriver. First, you need to remove the screws, and we need to get the back cover removed. So there are 4 screws on the top. One screws in the middle. There are some missing screws in the laptop, so do not mind the screws that are missing. You just have to remove the screws, and there are 4 screws at the bottom. The bottom screws are a little bit tinier, a smaller screw versus the top one, which is the longest screw. Alright, once you have removed all the screws, let's go ahead and pop open the back cover here. So I like to use the metal prying tool or the plastic one if you don't have, and just stick enough. Do not try to stick too deep. You do not want to damage the motherboard. Just enough for you to pry open the plastic cover. And once you have the plastic underneath, your fingers, you can go ahead and separate the back cover. Alright, so once you have the back cover removed, here you can see the entire computer, the internal part of it. Alright, so I'm gonna give you a brief walkthrough, at least you know what is all the components are. So the left and the right, these are your 2 CPU fans, and the CPU and the graphics card. This is the CPU here, and the graphics card is on this side, and this is the heat sink where it conducts the heat, and the CPU fan would exhaust the hot air away from your laptop, meaning going to that direction, and some of them are going to away from each other, the left and the right. Alright, so this is the CPU fan exhausting the heat away from the laptop. As you can see that the CPU fan is quite dirty, and you might want to take the chance to go ahead and get the A-can duster and just dust it off or brush off all the dust away. Here is your battery, and if your battery is not holding the charge, it's time for a replacement. If the battery is swollen, if you feel like the battery has a lump on it, it is time for a replacement. If you feel like your touchpad is not clickable, if you feel like the touchpad is hard to press, the clicker is not working, more likely 99% of the chance is that the battery is swollen, meaning that the battery is bulging up, pushing the touchpad, the clicker on the other side of it, right? So when the battery is swollen, it would push the touchpad and the clicker so that you don't feel that click. So that means you need to have the battery replacement. Here is where the the laptop RAM is, you need to remove the bracket by simply just lift it up. Okay, so this metal bracket here, it doesn't have anything that holds on to it. It's just that the clipper, you see the clipper right here. So those are the clipper that clips onto the metal bracket. Once you remove the bracket, you can see that the RAM is exposed. And to remove the RAM, you just push the two clipper away from each other, and then you can slide the RAM out. And this RAM right here is running on, I believe it's a 8 gigs RAM DDR4. There are two slots, one here and the other one on this side. You can actually add additional RAM on this part here, the second slot. All right, so this is the secondary hard drive. This is your main C drive, which is the solid state M.2 NVMe drive. Okay, now the first thing I like to do is go ahead and disconnect the battery. The battery has no clipper or anything that's secure. What you want to do is just to slide down the connector towards your body. All right, so slide it down towards yourself. And that's how you disconnect the battery. Once you have disconnected the battery, let's go ahead and remove it. I guess we need to remove this metal bracket. This is just a bracket that's covering up the M.2 drive. Once you remove the bracket, you can see that the M.2 and the Wi-Fi is exposed. The Wi-Fi cut here is exposed, and we need to remove the M.2 drive. Slide it to your right so that we can get this little final screw for the battery. Alright, so this is the M.2 drive. You can see that it's running on 512 gigabytes, and if you try to upgrade to like 1 terabyte or 2 terabyte, and if you're running out of storage room, go ahead and check the description below. I'll link it where I'll show it to you how to clone the hard drive, meaning to clone this M.2 drive over to that 1 terabyte. Yeah, so meaning that you need to buy one of these USB adapter, and then buy one of these like the 1 terabyte NVMe drive. Then you can clone on the original hard drive over to this M.2, the 1 terabyte drive, using the USB adapter. What I'll do is I'll link them in the description below. You can go ahead and buy the adapter and the M.2 out of Amazon. Okay, and also the link on how to clone the hard drive over. I'll have the link separate video for you on that. All right, once you have removed that, let's continue removing the battery. The battery is removed. Slide it out, and let's look for the replacement part here. The battery replacement part here, it says L19M4PC0. I'll link them in the description if I find the battery, and so you can go ahead and order and do the replacement yourself. Alright, so this is your Cmos battery. If you want to reset the motherboard, you can disconnect the Cmos battery. Now let's move on to the next part here. I'm going to disconnect the Wi-Fi antenna simply by pulling straight up. Here is the what do you call that, the speaker, the left speaker and the right, they kind of run along with the cable here at the bottom. There's nothing that holds onto it. You just have to lift it up and disconnect the main cable. I believe the main cable is somewhere right here. Okay, so to disconnect the speaker, you just have to slide the connector down towards your body. So slide it down, and that's how you disconnect the speaker cable. And this is the entire speaker, and you can just remove it. Here is your keyboard. Open up the clipper and slide the flex cable down. Cmos battery, so we're going to leave it on because I do not want to drain the motherboard settings. I'm just going to lift the batteries up. Here is your touchpad. Let's go ahead and lift the connector, the clipper up, and slide the cable down. We just disconnect the touchpad. This is your secondary M.2 drive. If you're planning to install this, I think you can by removing this hard drive. So remove this, remove this, remove the 2 screws. Now what you can do is you can open up the clipper, slide that cable out, remove this final screw, and you can remove the secondary slot for the hard drive. Here is empty, it doesn't have the hard drive in it. And if you're ready to install the M.2 drive, you take it up, slide a connector into this SSD drive, and you install here. You can have the secondary drive like a D drive or the E drive. Now for those of you who doesn't want to have the 2.5-inch hard drive, what you can do is you can get yourself another you can get yourself another M.2 NVME drive. So you can install the secondary into here, get the screw and install this. So you would have second M.2 drive. Primary, which is here. This is your primary, and this is your secondary. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the next step. We are working on the let's work on the CPU fan. So let's go ahead and remove the CPU fan. 1 screw, 2 screws. Pop open the connector by lifting straight up. Just lift it up. And the CPU fan, it's not easy to get out, meaning that you need to remove the heatsink. All right, so we're going to do that. Let's go ahead and disconnect this CPU fan by pushing the connector away from your body, so that direction. Remove the screw, 1 and 2. And now we're going to disconnect the heatsink. So the screw doesn't come out. So this heatsink screw doesn't come out. When you keep twisting the screw until you can hear that little click, 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 that means you have turned enough of the screw. All right, so there are 5 screws, heatsink holding down to the motherboard, and you just have to lift it straight up. And if you lift it up, this is the chance where you can apply a new thermal paste on it, right? So if you feel like the thermal paste is all dried out, get yourself these alcohol wipes. Go ahead and wipe out the dry thermal paste, as well as the CPU and the graphics card. Wipe it out and apply yourself with the new thermal paste. Squeeze it in, and there you go. These are what we call the thermal pads. These are the thermal pads, which is conduct the heat coming from the chipset onto the heatsink. You can also change that out if you like. And what I'll do is I'll link them in the description below. I got all of those parts from the Amazon. Now you can see that the heatsink is quite dirty, so these are all the junk. Go ahead and clean out the junk, right? And so that you can free up the heat instead of cluttering onto the computer. So this is really bad. Go ahead and clean it out. I'll do a better cleaning later. I'm just wanted to show you how to do the teardown, how to upgrade your computer, things like that for now. Okay. Just clean some of the fan out here for now. Alright, so that is that, and this is your CPU fan. Let's go ahead and remove the final screws. They're all screws around. Look at that, look at that. How nasty that is, right? All right, so that is that. Let's put it on the side here. All right, the next step I like to do is to go ahead and remove this cable. This is the flex cable that transfer your USB stuff over to the main board. So this is like the bridge that connect over. Let's go ahead and disconnect the motherboard. This is your LCD screen. Open up the clipper and slide that cable to your right. And that is how you disconnect the LCD screen cable. And there you have it. So do not pull the motherboard yet because this cable is still attached to it. You want to flip it to yourself and disconnect this cable right here. Now, I don't have to do all that because pretty much this is the complete teardown already. The motherboard is just going to be removed once you disconnect this cable. But I wanted to show it to you and share with you how the keyboard is made. So this keyboard here, you don't see any screw that holds onto it. All these little black tiny dots, they are actually punched down by the manufacturer, meaning that the plastic is punched down. So in other words, if you want to change the keyboard, you would have to replace the entire keyboard on its own. You can't just change the keyboard here. You need to remove and replace the entire keyboard by removing the screws here on the hinge and then slide the keyboard out. Very simple. You just have 6 more screws to remove. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Open up the hinge and the entire keyboard will just pop up with the touchpad and the whole assembly. You need to change that in order to change your keyboard. So that is the downside of this this laptop here. All right, so other than that, I don't think there's much to explain about the teardown already. This is the complete teardown here for you, and I think this is it. Let's see, how do I install this back like this? And this is it. So again, if you have any questions, comment below. Again, I do read the comment and I'll try to answer your question. Just comment below and that's how the best you get to me. All right, if you find this video is helpful, please give me a like and subscribe. I really appreciate that. And let me know if you were able to upgrade your RAM, or maybe upgrade your M.2 drive, or clone to the larger C drive, things like that. Let me know. I'd like to hear from you. I hope you learned something today, and until next time, take care. Bye now.